Ever get that feeling, like when you try to wrap your head around something super intricate, like the U.S. immigration system,
Yeah.
and your brain just kind of gives up?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I know that feeling.
It's like this giant puzzle of rules and regulations, and you don't even know where to start, you know?
Absolutely. Can be totally overwhelming.
Right. But what if we could kind of zoom out for a sec, like looking at a blueprint instead of getting lost in the
Oh,
weeds?
that's a good analogy.
What if we could understand those fundamental principles at work? I think that would make it way less intimidating.
For sure.
And that's exactly what we're going to do for you today.
Yeah, we're going to go deep. We're taking a deep dive into the key things you got to know to navigate the U.S. immigration system. And to do that, we're tapping into the wisdom of some seriously experienced immigration attorneys.
That's right. These are the folks who are out there every day dealing with the complexities of visas like the EB-1A.
Right, the EB-1A, that's the one for people who are at the top of their game. Extraordinary ability in things like science, the arts, education, business even.
Exactly. And then there's the EB-2 NIW, the National Interest Waiver.
Now that one's interesting. It allows people with advanced degrees or exceptional skills to apply for a green card.
Mm.
But there's a catch. Their work has to benefit the U.S. national interest.
So it's not just about being really good at what you do, it's about how that benefits the country as a whole.
Exactly. And even if you're not planning on becoming an immigration lawyer yourself,
Yeah, who is?
understanding these core principles is super valuable for anyone, attorney or not,
Mm.
especially if you're thinking about going through the process yourself.
It's like getting a sneak peek behind the curtain,
Yeah,
seeing how the experts think and what they prioritize.
exactly.
And our goal today, to boil all of that down, to give you that essential knowledge that'll put you in a much better position to handle your own immigration journey.
Yeah, it's all about empowerment.
That's it. We're talking proactive planning, getting a crystal clear understanding of what's involved, and maybe most importantly, keeping those expectations in check.
Managing those expectations, so important. And one of the biggest takeaways from talking to these attorneys is that immigration, it's so much more than just paperwork.
Oh, absolutely. It goes way beyond just filling out forms and checking boxes. It's not just an administrative process, right?
Right.
These attorneys, they see their role as strategic advisors. It's about giving advice that's tailored to each person. It's about really understanding your unique situation, your background, what you want to achieve.
It's about finding the best path forward for you specifically, not just some cookie-cutter approach.
And what I find fascinating is this idea of being adaptable. Like you were saying, you might think the EB-1A is the way to go because you've got a strong track record of publications.
Yeah, seems like a natural fit.
But what if your work is in a really specialized field, something super important, but maybe not widely recognized?
I see what you're saying.
The EB-2 NIW, focusing on the national interest, that might be a smoother, less competitive path.
Interesting. So it's not about getting laser focused on one specific visa.
Right. It's about understanding the whole landscape,
Yeah.
knowing your strengths and being ready to switch gears if your initial plan isn't the best fit.
It's like having a GPS, that can reroute you if there's traffic on your preferred route.
Exactly. Keep that destination in mind. That's usually permanent residency, but be flexible about how you get there.
Agility. That's a key in a system this complex.
Couldn't agree more. And another thing that kept popping up, timing and managing expectations.
Oh yeah, that's huge. I can only imagine how stressful it must be to have your life kind of on hold while you wait for the immigration process to move forward.
It must feel like you're in limbo.
Absolutely. That uncertainty, not knowing how long it's going to take, especially for those more complex visas, that's a major source of stress.
Mm.
And that's where having good guidance makes all the difference
So it's about setting realistic expectations right from the start.
from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And being upfront about potential delays,
Mm.
keeping you informed about any changes in the timeline.
So you're not constantly wondering and feeling left in the dark.
Exactly. It's better to be prepared for a longer wait than to be caught off guard.
No surprises, right?
Right. Now, let's dive into the actual legal framework for a bit.
Yeah.
U.S. immigration law, it's not exactly light reading, is it?
You could say that again. It's notoriously complex.
It really is.
Yeah.
And one crucial thing here is understanding what you can and can't do legally. There's this huge web of rules and regulations, and most people don't even know they exist until they're right in the middle of the process.
And something that might seem like a small administrative error.
Oh, it can have big consequences.
Exactly. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
And another common misconception, just because you meet the basic requirements for a visa,
Doesn't mean you're automatically approved.
right, that's what I was thinking. People probably assume that if they check all the boxes, they're good to go.
It's not that simple. There are so many other factors at play. The number of applications in a particular category, changes in policy priorities, even how you present your case, and the evidence you provide. It all matters.
So it's not just a checklist, there's a whole evaluation process that goes on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And speaking of things changing, immigration law seems particularly sensitive to shifts in the political landscape,
Oh, yeah, especially with elections and changes in administration.
right? Our sources show just how much impact those changes can have on different visa types, like the H-1B for skilled workers or the EB-2 we were talking about earlier.
And even the basic eligibility criteria can shift.
Exactly. A new administration might decide to prioritize certain professions or take a closer look at specific parts of the application.
So staying informed isn't just a good idea, it's essential.
Absolutely.